Welcome to the Elselah Books podcast, and this is our explainer on John Piper's Advent devotional, Good News of Great Joy. You know how the holiday season can just feel like a total whirlwind of shopping, stress, and obligations, right? It's so easy to lose sight of what it's all supposed to be about. Well, this book really tries to cut through all that noise and get us back to a much, much deeper meaning. I think this quote from the preface just hits the nail on the head. It perfectly captures that feeling of the December rush. The book is framed as an antidote to that chaos, a chance to just stop, sit down, and find some real rest and revival in the middle of it all. So let's dive in and see how it proposes we do that. So right off the bat, the book kind of flips the script on our usual way of thinking about the holidays. We spend so much time thinking about what we want for Christmas. This devotional completely changes that and asks a way more profound question. The entire devotional is really built around answering this one single question. It sets the stage for absolutely everything else. So what is the answer, according to the book? What does Jesus actually want? And there it is. The answer the book gives comes straight from a prayer of Jesus in the Gospel of John. According to Piper, Jesus' deepest desire isn't for our gifts, our decorations, or even our songs. It's for us to see and truly appreciate his glory. Now, the book is really clear that seeing and savoring his glory isn't some passive thing like looking at a painting in a museum. No, it's an active delight. It's a deep, shared joy. The goal, as Piper explains it, is for us to love what we see with the very same love that God the Father has for God the Son. Just think about that for a second. Okay, so once we've got that central idea down, the devotional moves into its next major argument. And this one directly connects the manger in Bethlehem to the cross on Calvary, showing how they're really just two parts of one single unified mission. Piper calls this specific passage from the book of Hebrews his favorite Advent text. And you can see why, right? It explicitly says that the whole reason Jesus took on flesh and blood, the very reason for Christmas, was so that he could die. So let's just break down the logic here step by step from the Day 11 reading. First, the eternal Son of God had to become fully human because only a human could die human death. Second, that death had a specific purpose, to disarm the devil. How? By paying for our sin, which takes away the devil's power to accuse us. And the result of all that is that we're freed from the fear of judgment. So here's the bottom line. Christmas had to happen so that Good Friday could happen. They're two sides of the same coin. And this idea of a clear purpose just keeps building. The book presents Jesus' mission as not just a passive sacrifice, but as an active, strategic campaign against what it calls the works of the devil. Now, this is a really fascinating point from one of the later readings. The book argues that Christmas actually has two purposes that work together. On one hand, Jesus came to empower us to help us break the cycle of sinning. But on the other hand, he also came to be what the Bible calls a propitiation, basically a payment or a covering for our sins for those times when we inevitably fail. The devotional is super clear that the works of the devil, in this context, primarily means sinning itself. And Piper uses this powerful metaphor here, describing sin as an assembly plant. He says Christmas is a call for all of us to go on strike, to walk out and refuse to participate in producing sin any longer. Okay, so we've covered some really deep theology, but what does all of this mean for us, practically speaking? Well, the book doesn't just leave us there. It translates this whole mission into what it calls 3 Christmas presents for every believer. And here they are, straight from the Christmas Day devotional. First gift, a clear purpose for your life. To trust in Jesus and to love other people. Simple, right? Second, the gift of hope. Because you know your failures are forgiven, you have the courage to keep fighting. And third, direct help. The solid belief that you are not in this fight alone. And this, right here, is the real game changer. According to Piper's text, the security of knowing you are forgiven isn't a license to just kick back and relax. Not at all. It's the very fuel that gives you the hope and the strength to get back up every single time you fall and keep striving to live a better life. All right, the final big theme that the book wraps up with is what Piper calls the absolute heart of the entire Christmas story, the profound, almost unbelievable humility of the Incarnation. The book makes a fascinating distinction here. See, our humility usually comes from knowing our own flaws or our own limits. But it argues that Jesus' humility was completely different. It was the voluntary choice of an infinitely powerful, perfect being to empty himself and take on the role of a servant. This passage is what the devotional calls its favorite Christmas text. And I mean, you can totally see why. It perfectly captures this radical idea of a voluntary self-lowering from the highest position of authority in the universe to one of ultimate service and sacrifice. And that's the final piece of the puzzle that the book puts into place. This one initial act of incredible humility, of God becoming a man, a servant, is what powers everything else. It's the why behind the manger, the why behind the cross, and the why behind the entire story of salvation that the book lays out. So, we'll end with the question the book really wants us to wrestle with. If the central event of Christmas isn't just about a baby being born, but about a divine king willingly choosing to become a servant, how does that completely shift our understanding of the whole season? It's a powerful thought to carry with you. We really hope you try to get this book and read it for yourself. Be blessed, thank you for listening, and do subscribe to our channel for more.